So these are going to be my impressions of the last Marvel's Avengers open beta, and I have a bunch of thoughts. And here with me is Kuma, who is going to ask some questions. Maybe you guys have some questions for.
All right, so you got the chance to play a game, and I didn't really get the chance to play a game. So I was just gonna pick your brain on this experience. Can you tell me what is your most favorite thing about this game? Favorite part?
I think it's being able to see the Avengers and play with them. Like you can have AI buddies, or you can have real people join in, and then just seeing on screen the different Marvel superheroes just working together, I think is a really cool idea. That's something that I think everyone wanted to see for a while, ever since the MCU just kicked off. People just wanted to play them. I think that's the coolest thing for me about this game.
Okay. So who do you like to play the most, or your favorite playable character so far?
So far, I've tried to dip my toe with who's available. So in this beta, you could play as Hulk, Miss Marvel, Black Widow, and Iron Man. I think I like. I think I'm leaning towards Black Widow and surprisingly Miss Marvel.
Okay. Well, a lot of casual fans like myself might not know of Miss Marvel. Can you give us more details about her, like a little bit of her background?
I don't know too much about her since she's recently gotten a lot more attention, like the in comics and such. But I know that she was part of like why they changed like the original Miss Marvel, who was Carol Danvers, and now she's Captain Marvel. She's an Inhuman, so she's like, I want to say it's like X-Men, but it kind of is. It's just like this subgroup of humans that have special powers, and they're just like they're mutated, not mutated, but you know what I mean. They have powers compared to normal humans. Um, she has stretchy powers. She's pretty much Mr. Fantastic, if you know who he is. So he can move it. She could bend her body. She can extend it. You could do some pretty creative things with her powers. I just think as a concept, when I think about her, he's not the coolest like hero to think about, like compared to like Thor or someone who's just like the god of thunder. Like when you think of Miss Marvel and she has stretchy powers, it's kind of like, yeah, okay, I guess it's all right, but
So, what do you like the least about this beta?
I don't like how unoptimized this game is. Like I experienced at least 3 or 4 game crashes so far and constant frame rate drops. It just feels very unpolished, or just feels like it's not ready. They have a lot of work to do for that part, but I feel like that's what stopped me from really enjoying it. Also, I was looking at different communities for this game, just seeing like what the potential of the combat is, like how in depth it could be, or how simple, or how easy it is to jump into it. It's pretty simple to start out. There is some complexity to it, I will say, which is nice. So you won't get totally bored right when you start. It's like not like, okay, I start playing, I do this 3 button combo into a heavy attack kind of thing, just like in Devil May Cry or Bayonetta or any of those kinds of games. There's some basic combos that you probably figure out after a while. But you could change it up. There's different conditions. Like when you level up, you get different skills to add to give you more moves in the game. So you can add like a running dash charge, like you could hit enemies, that kind of stuff. You could add new combos. So there's a little bit of customization. The only thing is it's going to be linear, since I'm assuming you can get every single skill point in the skill tree. So it's just be everyone has the same, skills. There's not really degree of variance for it. You know, it'll be interesting to see if people can really show if the combat system is robust enough to allow for experimentation. But aside from that, I think the graphics are okay. It looks a little dated. It's to be expected. I mean, because this game has been in development for years. Usually when that happens, I find that game like systems or anything feel a little dated because they just constantly work on it. It might have been from a different era of games. Maybe some trends were more popular than others at some point, but nowadays like maybe it just feels old or not fun. Something I noticed with Crystal Dynamics is for anyone that's played the new Tomb Raider games, they've had this hair, like special hair effect to make her, like Lara Croft's hair, look more realistic. In this game, it looks really out of place because it always looks like your characters are constantly getting a fan blown in their hair, like constantly moving. It's a little weird. It's a little unnerving. It's something I couldn't stop seeing because everyone's hair just kept moving constantly. Like there's a gust of wind in their face every few seconds. So it's weird. It's a little jarring, but something I guess you can get over eventually.
So, where do you see the direction of this game going in the future? Like maybe 1 year down the line, you think it will have raids? Do you think there's like different builds? Like, what are you thinking? What is this game gonna become?
I think there will be raids. I think I've heard about maybe they want to do a raid group for people, but I'm not sure how that works because I think as of right now, matchmaking, only one person can be a different hero each time. Like, there can only be one Hulk or one Thor or one Captain America in the party. So there's no duplicates. So I'm guessing they're going to have to hard cap it. So maybe, I guess maybe in the beginning it'd be like 6 people. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. I haven't really dipped into matchmaking because it was kind of busted this past weekend. It wasn't working very well. So I didn't really get to try it. They might change it. They might add more group content. Maybe they'll add like an open world, not like pseudo open world map. Maybe there's like a bunch of things to do. And it's when they release more heroes, so there'll be a little more variation in like what people can choose for character-wise. It'd be cool if they did something similar to, I'll probably reference this a bunch in this video, but Marvel Heroes. There was a mode called Midtown Madness. So it's just an open area, and you just get grouped up with random people that join in, and there's like events all over the map. So there's bosses going around, or just different events, and then just loot dropping everywhere. It was a really cool mode. It's just like chaos. It's like you could have a bunch of bosses just start fighting you, and it's like it just could happen. So if they do something like that with that game, I think it would be a lot of fun. If you just like let the chaos happen. But yeah, they already announced, you know, there's been leaks of a list of characters that are planning to come out. You know, like War Machine, Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, those kinds of things. So, might be interesting. Maybe they'll have seasonal events, like with any live service games. Or maybe any event that, you know, coincides with future Marvel movies. So maybe they'll have something tailored to that. Or maybe a character release, that kind of stuff. There's a lot they could do. I think there's a lot of room for improvement for this game. It's just, right now in the current state, I don't know how old this beta build is. But right now it's rough. It's in a rough state.
Well, going off your loot, what do you think of the loot so far, and what's your impression on it?
So, this is probably a Marvel thing, but they don't let you like customize like individual like appearances. Like in other loot systems, you can, you know, when you level up, they'll have different appearances. These kinds of games, same with like some like licensed games like Star Wars and such, they'll usually just have straight up outfits, like you just do like one piece of look. That's it. Like, you're not going to be able to transmogrify, you know, different sets to make your own customized look of, you know, like Black Widow or something, where you choose how you want to make her look. So there's always going to be, for these Marvel games, is just what Marvel wants you to see. They're not going to let you customize the look to that degree, but they'll let you choose what outfits that they approved of. The loot system is very forgettable, to be honest. It's like a bunch of modifiers on it, but there's a button to, you know, auto-equip the highest power level, which is just like a fire and forget kind of thing. You just hold and press it, and then just move on. Feels very simple. It's basically just following a number. It's like you just want to get that number as high as possible. Like when I found out from playing, like I didn't really care too much about what the item text or modifiers on each item was. I haven't seen like the highest tier of loot, so it's supposed to change builds around supposedly. So if it's like anything like Diablo 3, where legendaries will completely change your build, then I think that's cool. That's always been a cool idea ever since I saw it in that game, and I think it really makes it more interesting when you just like start changing around like how your playstyle is based on what loot you have. So it could be good, but I think right now leveling up loot is pretty forgettable. I just equip, like I said, I equip the highest number for power score, and I just move on. Hopefully that'll change if you play an end game.
Updating your HUD.
Okay, to our understanding, this game will be released to the public for purchase in moments, like in a few weeks or so. Just in case if the studio is listening, any last minute advice for improvements?
Optimize the game, first thing. I hear it got better from the past beta, like the beta before this one, but it still needs work. I know it's not representative, but maybe explain the systems in this game, because I don't know what each of these stats mean, because it's like, you know, what increases my physical or melee damage or range damage. I think you can view an advanced stat screen, but you're gonna need to explain all these systems to people, because I just see a bunch of, you know, pictures of crafting materials, and I'm just like, I don't know what to use for any of these. It's just very confusing because they don't explain much to the game, and it would also help if there were character tutorials to teach you some basic combos for each character. Because right now I was just experimenting, since it's just like, just drops you in. It's just like, all right, go try the beta, try these random missions, and see what you can do. Just, you know, get a feel for it. So hopefully when the game launches, you know, it'll have a decent tutorial to, you know, like I said, explain all this. Because right now it's confusing and a little overwhelming. Because it's really tedious to have to sit down and read every single bit of thing, just to understand how this game is going to work. It's not fun to do. I guess it'll be more fun for min-maxers, and I probably, if I do play this game more down the line, if I change my mind about, you know, how this game is, then I'll take the time to learn how the loot system works, or how the combat system works, or anything like that.
One of their agents is down.
Yeah, there's a bunch of progressions you can do. There's like a character progression, individual character progression, that you can, if you spend more time with it, then you unlock bonuses for that character, which is cool. So that promotes, you know, trying all the characters and getting different cosmetics or materials or anything like that. So that's a good thing.
Well done.
But it needs a lot of work. It feels rushed. I wish I didn't have to say, but ever since the E3 that both you and I, Kuma, have seen, it just hasn't looked amazing. It did not blow us away. We were really hoping for this game to just be better than it looked, and unfortunately, it's not much better.
That's
Sad part.
unfortunate. Quite unfortunate, but how about the story? Is it redeemable? Because story makes the game as well.
So they only give you, I think, 2 story missions to work with, not including the tutorial mission, just the opening. To be honest, it's nothing special. It's what I expect from a superhero story, but it's just, yeah, that's, I mean, it's not, I don't think it's trying to be anything else but that. But it's not going to blow my mind on how good the writing is, because what I've seen so far, I've been pretty lousy, I must say. Like, it's weird to have a character who is going to be the narrator, which is fine, Ms. Marvel. It's weird for her to be fanboying over every single bit of Avengers things, which it should be the player doing that, but it's the character in the game. Which it's kind of weird to say, like, when she says something like, "Oh my god, it's Tony Stark's Jarvis. This is so amazing." It's like, it's just weird, because she should be in the same world, and she's like, I don't know. It just feels like the player should be doing that, not her so much. It's just weird that she's fanboying over it a lot. But yeah, the stories, from what I've seen, it's very limited. I can't make a very serious judge on how good the writing will be or anything, or the story, because it got a really small sample and it was jumping around. So I hope it'll be better than what I've seen, because right now it's about average for a superhero story, and it's below average, if I have to say, for just the video game story in general.
Wow, that's harsh. So, would you tell our viewers, is this a buy? Don't
It's
buy. Wait
a
on it.
it's a wait on it. Just see how reactions are. Just people playing it. I don't feel confident enough to say go pre-order this. I would rarely say go pre-order games, to be honest, but this is a very good reason why not to, because there's a lot of uncertainty for this game. Like, thing I will say is I'm confident that this will have a good amount of support, because I think this game will survive for a while, because this is the only online Marvel game there is, like, big budget, like, not including like mobile games or anything like that, because that's a whole different category, but things that you could play on a console or on a computer or anything like that. The last one we got for, I want to say, quote unquote big Marvel game or superhero game for this side was Marvel Heroes, and that got canceled because of this game coming out. And also, I'm thinking the license ran out for them and they didn't renew it, so that game ended. I really liked that game. It wasn't the best, but it was really fun just to like pass time with. So this is going to be the next game that's supposed to pass your time with, just to sync, grind for gear, or things like that, the next shiny thing. So they have to really just sell people like why this game is worth investing in, because right now it's hard to justify that, besides just this is the only game available for if you want to play a Marvel game, like, besides Spider-Man. Like, there's been really nothing else. Been barren. So I think people just accept it. Some people will. They already have. There's nothing else for Marvel side. I want to get my superhero fix, so I guess I'll stick with this. But if you're not that invested in this game, or you're unsure, just wait. See for a sale. Check back in for a few months, maybe 6 months after. see how they've been handling the game, if they made the improvements that, like I've been saying, and it needs more than just what I've been saying. But those are the big issues. They're gonna do anything else besides adding cosmetics because that's how they're gonna make money. They already have it in there. So they're gonna be looking for people to buy their outfits and, you know, nameplates, whatever cosmetic stuff they have. They're gonna need to focus on a lot more than besides those things. Because otherwise this is a pretty flawed game at its core. And just releasing a bunch of cool cosmetics is not going to save it.
Well said, man. Well said. Any final thoughts that that we didn't talk about that you want mention real quick to conclude?
I mean, I think I said all I need to say. I do want this game to succeed. I want them to get better. I invested so much time into Marvel Heroes. I played over 1,300 hours of that damn game. And I would love to spend as much time and more into this game. It just needs a lot of work right now. And to be fair, Marvel Heroes at the beginning was in a rough state too. It wasn't good. I came back like 2 years later, and then I basically came in the Division 1.8 update when they just changed so many things and it just got so much better. So maybe they'll have like one of those kinds of patches where it just completely changes people's perceptions about it and just like, and maybe I'll just jump into it and I'll just get completely hooked like I did with those games. But I hope they really improve it. I really want this game to work. And this is the only thing available. But I am not going to just play it just because it's the only thing available. Because, you know, there's better looter games there is like out there on the market. Like, just because this has the Marvel stamp doesn't mean it's an automatic play for me. So, I hope they take the feedback they got into consideration because they got a lot of work ahead of them after this game gets released. I just hope they can, you know, continue to improve it.